This is such an action-packed episode. You better believe it's not. You said it. You thought I was going to say it was. Anywho. Today we have a 1991 Oldsmobile 98 with a no-start condition. This is the touring sedan. How do you like that? It's pretty posh on the inside, not gonna lie. Friend who owns this car says it wouldn't start. Now, off camera, I did take a look at it and diagnose it, and it's gonna be one of two problems. Basically, it was the lack of fuel that was preventing this car to start. If we look up here, there is one fuse that is missing right below the 15. That'd be this guy right here. That is the fuel pump fuse, 20 amps. It kept blowing on us. So let's take a look at a wiring schematic right quick and see what the two possibilities are. Power comes in here through the relay center. Power distribution, all that fun stuff, the big box. From here we've got a splice. And you know this symbol is a splice because it says S on here, S244, so that'd be splice number 244, I believe. If it wasn't a splice, then it wouldn't have that little dot in here. For example, these wires would not cross in diagram. You put a little circle in here, then these four wires connect to each other. Anywho, so we have the fuel pump way down here. And it keeps blowing the fuse. This is the fuse in question, the 20 amp right here. So power comes in through two different ways into the circuit and goes to the fuel pump, and it grounds out over here. So pink is one part of the hot circuit and the yellow is the other part of the hot 12 volt circuit. Okay. So what I'm thinking is it could be just pulling too many amps because it's worn out. Similar to how a starter works. The more a starter on an engine wears out, the more amp draw it's going to have. That's why I'm going after this one first, because this one seems the most plausible. Now, what are other ways if this, because right now this is an intermediate failure. Sometimes the fuse pops, sometimes the fuse doesn't pop. Intermittent problems, of course, on cars, especially electrical, are the absolute worst. But sometimes you just can't avoid them. So I'm going to attack this problem with the most common solution, I believe, and that is the fuel pump. Now, what are some of the other ways that this fuse can blow if that fuel pump was perfectly fine? Hot comes in here into this oil pressure switch, or oil pressure sender, depending on what your gauges are. Hot comes through your fuse, fuel pressure, oil pressure switch down to here and connects to the fuel pump. It also has a hot circuit on the yellow side here that comes from the fuse that keeps blowing down to our fuel pump relay and then shoots it back down to the fuel pump. Now you might be asking yourself, it's got two different 12 volt feeds to go to the fuel pump. That is correct. This is actually a fail-safe system. So if something ever happened to this fuel pump relay and those contacts either burn up or loses power on the control side, this is the load side, if it loses power on the control side, your oil pressure switch will actually carry that juice to your fuel pump and continue motoring down the road until you can get into the shop and get it repaired. Although honestly, I don't think you'd notice it would be blown because the fuse would still work. So a few different ways this fuse could blow if we switch the fuel pump and it still works just fine. I've got two theories. Number one, rodents have gotten in here, chewed on wires, and simply got wires exposed, and now it's hitting the chassis rail and it's grounding out. There's a grounding situation, right? Direct to ground, pop. My friend was saying that sometimes you put the fuse in, you just turn the key, pops right away. That's a dead short. They also could have gotten in here on this circuit as well. Someone right in here chewed on wires and now it's somehow grounded out. It's technically possible. Another way I could see this going on, the only really other way I see it going on really, is that the relay itself is grounding out. Now, that's highly unlikely, but if you remember that these things, they are plastic. They are internally grounded. So you have to have a ground wire feeding it to make this relay work. So it is, in theory, technically possible for the relays to be short-circuited out. Now, this is technically a pressure switch, but switches can be grounded out and shorted out too. That's very technically possible. This should ground to the frame of the car, so maybe some insulation has gone haywire because you're feeding in positive 12 volts and you have to ground it, so there's insulation in there somewhere. So it is technically possible. So if the fuse blows on the fuel pump again after I put the new pump in, the next step action probably is either unplugging the oil pressure switch, and then if that doesn't work, simply plug that in and pull out the fuel pump relay and see if that cures the fuse from blowing. That would isolate it down to either the switch or the relay, fuel pump relay. And if it still blows with both of these disconnected, then we know we just have a simple wiring issue, most likely, that's been shorted out, and we'd have to chase that down. But intermediate problems are the worst, so let's go ahead and replace the fuel pump. I don't feel good about condemning the fuel pump right now, but at least if we replace it, we'll know that won't be the issue. Now, I do not recommend you being a parts replacer. I do recommend that you diagnose it properly. However, intermediate problems are the worst. This is my friend's car. We've decided on a course of action because he needs a daily driver for a while. So we're going to roll the dice and say it's the fuel pump that's plumb worn out, and we will replace it with a made in Japan quality fuel pump. So join us on our journey. Here we go. Going in. Sure, that seems solid enough. I knew I'd love having front tow hooks, but I didn't realize they'd pay off so quickly. All right, so what do we got? I think we need to drop the exhaust system first. We got a couple of muffler hangers in the back we need to undo, so we can drop the exhaust pipe, because that up there is actually where the gas tank is. And then of course, after we do that, there's the fuel net connections, which look absolutely hideous. Of course they do. That's gonna be fun in this time. Although it'll look like there's two regular hose clamps there, so in theory those will come off. But more on that later. Let's go ahead and drop an exhaust pipe here right quick. Put them back in there so you know where your hardware is. Don't lose it. This one's a little bit more taut. Doable, but taut. looking at this thing, there's two right next to the tank too. I'm not sure which ones to undo. I might actually undo the forward clamps as well, so this thing will just drop right out without much fuss. Probably should have done that in the first place, but oh well. But it's okay. I'm an idiot. All right, all four hose clamps have been loosened, so no matter which side I wanted to take it off, it'll have the max maneuvering area. Now, our max potential to flex out next to be the heat shield for the exhaust. I need to lower that out of the way. Now, I didn't realize, but these rivets are metal, which means no one's been in here before. These will not be getting rivets on the way back, though. That's for dang gum sure. Oh. Smokage. Using a 1/4-inch drill bits, they're going to get 4 1/4-inch bolts when we go to reinstall it. So I did one there, got a couple here, there and there. There's a couple forward on the tunnel, yada yada yada. So I'll just go ahead and snip those off right quick and drop this thing down a little bit so we can drop the main tank and continue on. Thank you, General Motors. All right, one heat shield possibly coming out, or at least down. We don't have to, it's just hooked up in there. We don't have to take it out all the way, but anyways, heat shield is down. Now we need to drop our tank straps here and here. Can't really disconnect those lines as is. So what GM wants you to do is we're gonna have to drop this tank 5 inches, maybe a foot, so we can get to that. So, okay. You know this tank's gonna be 3/4 full. I don't know if it truly is. That's not gonna be high enough. Well, maybe. I doubt it. This little weak pile of junk. Just can't have nice things. Okay, well, more woodage, more dunnage. Knock it off! Silly thing. Okay. Where's fairly level? There, right there? I guess. Alright, tank is for the most bit supported, I guess. Okay, let's undo those straps. This is such an action-packed episode. You better believe it's not. You said it. You thought I was gonna say it was. Anywho, let's just verify. The strap's not supporting anything, so we should be able to lower this down without bonking our heads too hardly. Too hard? Hardly bonk our heads. Words. Words are difficult. I definitely got bad grades in English in high school. What is this guy blithering on about? I got no idea. I have no idea. Okay, second strap. Down. Right. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh. That tank's actually fairly full. Oddly enough. May have to evacuate the tank first before we have any more spillage. Let's take care of that off camera right quick. A little bit of pumpage. Oh yes. You guys get the ever so faintest idea of what I'm doing here, yes? Well, you better. Always, every time I just got done emptying the tank, I got 14 gallons sitting here. Never ceases to fail. When you have to drop a tank, you're pulling out a full tank's worth of gas or fuel. It just, that Murphy fellow, I tell you what, I'm gonna ever get my hands on him. We're gonna have strong strong woods. Now that's done out of the way, I'm going to try to see if our lines here will pull right out. All right, that's good. All right, I think we can drop the tank the rest of the way. We got enough flexi with the flex line here. Flexi flex with a flex line. All right. Okay. Are we all retracted, matracted here? Yep. Okie dokie. Well then, let the festivities begin. Ouch! I don't think there's a very graceful way of doing that. Yes, there is. Okay, well, show me. Oh, wise ones. I'm not graceful. All right, let's get that out of the. Let's talk about the elephant in the room right now. Okay. Haha. Electrical connector. System connected. Now, I suppose I gotta disconnect those buggers now. Let's see here. Push, pull, depending on how you're looking at it, I suppose. Wow. Ah, there we go. Goodness gracious. Yeah, so we have to be cleaned up. I'll worry about that in a minute. Okay, that was fairly uneventful. Oh, here we are then. That's the wrong tab. This is the right tab. Okay. Very gently. Hear how this monstrosity comes out. Ah. All right. To the portable workbench, otherwise known as my cabinet door, on the service rig. Well, before we put it on the bench, I plugged it into the factory wiring harness, and I just wanted to see if the fuse pops or how this thing sounds, really. Ooh, it sounds a bit chunky. You can hear the grinding when it spins down. That don't sound good. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, it's working. The fuse isn't blowing now, so we have one of those lovely intermittent problems. Before you take these off, make sure you know which one's positive. What do we got? I'm assuming positive is on the condenser. Yes. Positive side is the condenser side. Okay. I assume that's a condenser. I don't know what the heck else it would be. It'd have to be a condenser because that would suppress the radio, compress the signal so your radio doesn't hiss on the AM. You guys hear about lately that Ford and a lot of the other dealers or car manufacturers, they're not putting AM radios in the cars anymore. I'm like, what the heck? Hello. AM radio was invented years and years and years ago. You know, 50 years old is almost a century old technology. I don't know. I guess our Congress is trying to make a bill to put back AM radios, so I don't know. I grew up with some of the AM radios. I know I'm not a real boomer, but I had some good times listening to the AM radio. Get into the conspiracy theories, with Art Bell, back in yesteryear, back in the 90s. Well, when I was listening to AM radios in the 90s, we didn't really have cell phones back then. They were around, but they were very expensive. And they really didn't do anything. They could make calls, and that's about it. All right. Tip for you guys, since we're talking about some of that stuff, since I brought it up. It was really cool. My coworkers were saying one time it was really cool back in the 90s when you had a pager. Raise your hands who knows what a pager is. It's really cool because with a pager, if you were, say, like driving in the mountains or the desert or whatever, and you didn't have cell phone reception or radio reception, someone could call you, or, page your pager, basically, and your pager would tell you what the callback number would be. And if you were out of range, so no signal whatsoever, when you got back into the signal area, drop back down into the town or whatever, and you got signal again, the pager would not get that missed call or that missed page. It would simply vanish. Meaning, if someone tried pinging you and you were out of cell phone range, you got back into cell phone range, the cell companies would not hold that information and you wouldn't get paid. So it was really nice if some people were bugging you. You could literally drive out into the country where there's no cell phone signal and your pager would never go off when you come back into town. kind of a nice deal, but, kind of an awesome little deal, a little FYI for you, but those days are long gone now. Yeah, I know this is not in focus. I know this is not quite positioned in the center of the camera, but I'm trying to prevent my flow from getting damaged. Okay, there's that. Just cut that up. Ooh, this one's been on there a hot minute. Well, since 91. Tough stuff. There we go. Squeaky, squeaky. There we go. This would be your Bosch 69 407 flavor. That is correct. This one almost feels a little heavier. Now, I like this one though. It was spendy. It's like $160, but it is made in Japan, so that's a win. Always a win. So I picked this sock up. There's two different sizes to these. So if you have to replace this on your Olds or similar GM chassis, they make two different flavors. You got this socket and you got this side. There's actually two different motors. This is the bigger 2-inch motor. So I'll put the new sock on and see if it fits in the tank. If not, we'll use the old sock. Much as I hate to. Don't forget our hose clamps. Some clampage. Ooh, they didn't back those off far enough, did they? Well, my parts bench here is getting rather full really quickly. Just give me a standard screwdriver. Come on. I would say I'm in charge, but more like my 3 brain cells is in charge. We get into quite a lot of arguments. Oh yes. Things get really weird. There's in there. I guess I'll just mount it up for right now. See where the silly sock. See if we can get the sock to stay somewhere. I know you can't see the hose clamp very well. You get the idea. Anything about it's pretty rudimentary. Putting a fuel pump on a sender unit and you just strap it down with a hose clamp. I mean, it works. All right, let's go see how it fits. Oh yeah. Maybe, yes. I think so. Like butter. That went in there a lot easier. Coming out, that's for darn sure. Alright. We gotta do a few things to this first, and then we'll go ahead and really cinch it down. Now on this sock here, the way that it holds on, again, it's with this lock washer, or jam washer, if you will. You put this tiny little guy right on there. Problem is, it's so small. I have no idea if this is gonna work. Okay. So, I don't know if this is gonna work very well. This might be a two-handed job. Yeah. Ooh, that was close. You see how hard it is? All right. Doing it off camera. Just nobody freak out. No one freaks out over your channel. Oh, thank goodness. There we go. Something like that. Smash it on there. There we go. Now that sock should not come off. Okay. That's on there. I think what we'll do is we'll swap out these hoses right quick. We'll put these on there. These, I think, will clamp a little bit better than the worm style. Technically, fuel injection, you should have T-bolt style hose clamps on there, but I don't have any. But you slip these over the hose and you simply pull this little pin out, or this clamp out, and then it'll go fink, cinch it right up nice and taut. And it won't back out, it'll always stay pressurized. So I think now that we know that that sock will fit, we'll go ahead and just do a little switchy-roo-poo here. Undo all my work again. Welcome to the automotive world of mechanicking. Mechanicking world of automotive? Words. Oh, words. Sock's pointed up as well. Take these out here. Put these on here. Back on. Why did you do that in the first place? Yeah, I didn't realize that the kit came with those. Even though I edit my videos, I will keep these parts in sometimes because the struggle is real. Alright, torque to 80,000 foot-pounds. I'll do the electrical next. The old one does not have those blue holders for the terminal. Well, that's interesting. This is already a better pump. And this is from the factory. Of course, it was 91. That's only 2 years after the 80s. And who remembers the 80s? Might be a bit fuzzy. Pretty much a one-time deal here, so let's see if we can get it right. Clamp this and should just pull. Like that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. That's very tight. Word. Like that. That's what the little clip looks like when you pull it out. Alright. That looks pretty good to me. Cables are taut. Sock is on and secure. Motor is secure. I'm doing this when it goes bad. I know that at least installed it halfway correctly. Let's go get some for this seal. I'm going to use the old one. I forgot to order another one, but it's a little bit cracked, but it should be alright. But I'm going to put some silicone spray on there. lock ring appears center. I think it's for reinstallation. Okay. Off. Plug the electrical connector in here like that. Then we'll do the vent. Most likely this goes to your carbon filter, your carbon canister rather. This guy will line back up here. It should just be a push and click. Uh-oh, they click on both sides. There we go. Yeah, make sure these actually goes in all the way. Be a heck of a mess if it didn't. Oh, well, that one's a little bit more taut. Need a little lubrication on that, maybe? That wouldn't be a bad idea. Ooh, stand by. Oh, ouch. I'm getting too old for this nonsense. I'm not even that old. I shouldn't be saying that. Oh, crikeys. All right. You're gonna get some silicone in the fuel. Whoa, people relax. I've done worse things. Yes, it's on the right size. These are two different sizes. Oh, that went in a lot better. See that? Click. All right. Now commencing of the jacking of the ups of the fuel pump. Fuel tank, which includes the fuel pump. Oh, yes. Make sure it's at the right angle. Did that connector go inside or outside of the... I don't remember. Dropping it on the outside. There we go. Just in case we have to get to it again. Oh, great. I just jinxed myself. That's wonderful. Okay. You seeing what I'm going through for you guys? We never asked you to go through this. Oh, okay. Very good. Carry on. All right. Carry on, my YouTube warriors. Carry on. Oh, nuts. Did I? This is... Oh, no. Okay, we're all right. It's okay. Everything's under control. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yes. Love that for us. I need to get these straps on ASAP. So with the two rubber hose connections, to get them on the tank is mostly up in its position. And all I'm doing is simply grabbing a pry bar here and manipulating it on the hose barb. Camera, I can't even hardly get in there, and I'm right below you guys, so that's how I'm manipulating it. So to get that hose fully on, your filler hose all the way onto the tank, you actually have to grab back here and manipulate the tank, pull on it to wiggle it all on there. Don't put your straps on yet. As you can see, mine's pretty close. We can go ahead and probably call that good in case anybody is struggling with theirs. But overall, not too bad. It took me a few minutes. All right. Hoses are on. Hose clamps are secure. I'll go ahead and get the tank straps up. Mr. Tyler is going down. Fantastic. And the heat shield is now back on. Just stuck a nut through there and took a little bit of finessing, but we got it all clamped down. Excellent. So now that bunker's nice and tight. I suppose we gotta put some gas in it, eh? I have to get the emergency trunk release because I am too lazy to open up the put the battery in the car. There you go. And hopefully don't get stuck. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I have to get my transmission filter out. I see. It's better than nothing, I guess. Ooh. I need to wash my hands anyways. All right. Okay. All I'll do is I'll just leave the 5 gallons in there for right now and try to start the car up. If everything works, no leaks, we'll put the other 5 gallons in there. You really don't want to run your gas tank down below 1/4 of a tank, because you saw the fuel pump was literally in there, and that's what keeps that pump cool, is being submerged in gasoline. I know, an electronic motor being submerged in gasoline, but obviously you can see, we figured it out. No, engineers have figured it out, not myself, of course. So everything all checks out, no leaks, we'll put another 5 gallons in there. I have absolutely no idea on how dead this battery is, so full send on that. Okay. I hate these side posts. Thank you, General Motors. All right. Let's see what we got here. Things are clicking. Okay. Go ahead and turn it off, and I'll see if this thing's making any noise down here. Yep. We got some noise. All right. I'll just crank on until it starts, hopefully. Oh. Oh. Well then. Well done. Hey. That sounded good. Prime it one more time. Yes. Good deal. That's a 3.8 GM motor. My grandma used to have a Pontiac Grand Prix, exactly the same. I don't see anything gushing. Okay. No leaks up here. No. No. I'll have to tuck those back in. I forgot about that. We'll do that in a bit. Sounds pretty good. So I was trying to start the car, put off the ramps right now. Nothing. And if I pull the 20 amp fuse out, it's blown. Excellent. Well, sort of. It means the fuel pump wasn't the problem. Which means I'm going to unplug either the fuel pump relay or the oil pressure sender unit, possibly. Let's see which one I do first. I've removed the fuel pump relay. You have to remove a couple of them before you can get up in there. This is an extremely tight fit, as you can see right there. But removed it. One blown fuse there. One good one in here. And we'll see if it continues to pop or not. Okay, starts back up without the relay. So what that means is, so basically to iterate what's going on is I simply pull the fuel pump relay out. This test is just going to test to see if the relay itself is bad for some reason. It was causing it to short circuit and trip the whole circuit. The positive lines are still energized on the yellow side because it's connected to the oil pump switch feed line as well, those splices I showed you earlier. This, again, just to test to see if the relay itself is causing the short in the circuit. And now everybody's confused, so if you were able to follow along, then Awesome. I'll try to start it and stop it and get it off the ramps at least, and see if it can reproduce the problem again. I did take apart the fuel pump relay, and we can see we've got some heat on these two terminals. That's your load side, but I can't see anything immediate that is shorted out. But at least process of elimination, it eliminates some of the wiring circuit plus a relay, so we'll just have to start and stop it again, see if this car fails or that fuel pump fuse fails again or not. So stand by some more. Oh yeah, this thing be posh, yo. Oh yeah. We got a few bumps though in the field we need to sort out. Whee! The RPM gauge, I've noticed, doesn't work. I don't know what that's all about. No, speedometer doesn't work either. Probably some more blown fuses. All right, well, we're running, we're driving. Okay. Get the suspension an exercise, eh? All right. Try it again. I don't know. It starts and runs fine now after I unplug that fuel pump relay. I don't know. Right, so before we part ways right quick, I ran the car for about an hour. I did put a new relay in it, and the fuse hasn't popped since. I've turned the car on and off 15, 20 times. I cannot get the fuse to pop anymore. It's hard to believe that usually with relays, they short out, or rather, when they go bad, the contacts will stay open. They won't work. They usually don't short circuit. They usually the relay stays open, and therefore you don't have any circuitry going on. So I will update you guys in the next video, which I'm going to tape here in a little bit, because this is a very, very dirty car and needs to be a bit of a scrubbing on. Welcome, of course, to everybody, all the newcomers. I don't know how the heck you found me, but people are still subscribing to my channel, so we're just gonna send it, as they say. I think this is my 50th video. No one cares! Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Anyways, but I'm absolutely loving this. Sometimes I need to take a break from it and step aside, but I've got plenty of content still planned out to help coax you guys through the madness of life these days. Hopefully I can bring a little bit of lighthearted longevity to it. I was told to tone it down, and that's all right. You guys can tell me to tone it down once in a while, but honestly, that's not who I am. So this is just going to be the way I'm going to be. So, love it, hate it. I'm glad you're here anyways. Thanks for watching. I gotta get the pressure washer out. It just never ends. Never, never. Oh, except for my back. It's done. You guys sit still already. No, that's not sitting still. They actually have these types that I think will crimp on perhaps a little bit better. You put the hose on, you put them on the hose. It's been about a week since I've... Oh, the old one does not have focus. I can't see you guys. There we go. Whoa! I didn't see that one coming. Gosh dang it. Oh, you guys knock it off. What, extracting a bolt's not exciting? Well, I know I'm not exciting. All right, stay. We were staying. You touched the camera. Oh, whatever. Tilt the camera back a little bit more. It's done. It's gotta be in center. It always has to be in center. Beautiful. Standard, it looks like. Oh. Barely holding on. Gosh dang it. Don't need more blooper reel tape, I'm sure I'll have enough. Good evening, Mr. Tyler. Going down. Ooh.